A multi-billion-dollar shock. Ant Financial postpones stock offering as the Communist Party tightens its grip. Welcome to China Uncensored. I'm Chris Chappell. It was supposed to be the biggest stock debut in history. Ant Financial, which billionaire entrepreneur Jack Ma spun off of Alibaba, was planning to have an initial public offering this week on the Shanghai and Hong Kong stock exchanges. But the Chinese Communist Party has put a stop to the IPO, which is too bad for Ant Financial because the company's expected market valuation after the dual listing was more than $310 billion. That's more than U.S. investment banks Goldman Sachs and Morgan Stanley combined. The IPO would have made Chinese billionaire Jack Ma even more of a billionaire. But when it comes to, quote, private businesses in China, things don't always go as planned.
All of that appears this morning to be going up in smoke. The Shanghai exchange, and we also know Hong Kong as well, have both essentially suspended the listing this morning. It's very much not completely clear.
Huh. Strange. What's wrong with Ant Financial? They even have a cute mascot. Wait, is that an ant or an alien? Okay, I guess it's Ant Financial, not Alien Financial. The company's Alipay app has become an essential payment tool for more than 730 million users, as well as a platform for obtaining small loans and buying insurance and investment products. These small loans are called microfinancing. And it's one way that Ant Financial has transformed the way Chinese people interact with money. In some ways, it's been the biggest change since Mao died and the Communist Party actually let Chinese people make money. Alibaba is a major shareholder in Ant Financial. And when the news broke, Alibaba shares fell 6% on the New York Stock Exchange. No official explanation has been given, but, well, I don't think it's too hard to figure out what happened. There is no truly private business in China. The Communist Party controls everything. Jack Ma is a Communist Party member. Of course. That's because if you want to succeed in China, you need to be aligned with the Communist Party. But the catch is, financial success and communism don't always go well together. Many large companies in China have found that to be truly successful internationally, you can't run things the way the Communist Party wants you to. And that is something Jack Ma has been saying. According to the New York Times, Ma has been a spirited champion for the company's mission of bringing financial services to small businesses and others in China who he says have been ill-served by stodgy government-run institutions. In fact, just over a week ago, Jack Ma gave a speech at the Bund Summit in Shanghai, criticizing China's financial regulators. He said they stifle innovation. Ma said, "We cannot manage an airport the way we manage a train station. We cannot use yesterday's methods to regulate the future." Well, I'm sure that's a message the incredibly paranoid Communist Party can get behind. That could be one reason that the People's Bank of China and 3 other financial regulators summoned Ma and 2 Ant Group executives for questioning just days before Ant Financial was supposed to go public. FYI, Jack Ma is no longer part of Ant Financial management. I'm sure it's just a coincidence he was part of the meeting. Now, it's possible that the meeting with regulators was in response to Jack Ma's speech. But it's also possible that Jack Ma already knew that Ant Financial was being investigated by regulators, which might have been the reason he gave his speech criticizing regulation. Speaking of regulation, on the same day as the meeting, China's main banking regulator, the China Banking and Insurance Regulatory Commission, issued these new rules for online microfinance businesses like Ant Financial. Basically, Ant would now need to put up way more money to back up loans.
And there is concern that it will go to the heart of the business model, which is that they'll need a much higher reserve requirement, which, of course, would impact their ability to make money.
The rules also tighten controls on lending across provincial lines. So you can see why Jack Ma isn't a big fan of Chinese regulators right now. But when it comes down to it, it's not just Jack Ma's comments that bother the Communist Party. It's the very nature of Ant Financial. According to the New York Times, Ant Group challenged China's state-dominated banking system by bringing easy-to-use payments, borrowing, and investing to hundreds of millions of smartphones across the country. And this business model puts financial services outside the direct control of the Communist Party and big Chinese banks. And so you began seeing the party apparatus running its gears. The Economic Daily, a newspaper under the control of the Central Committee of the Chinese Communist Party, was very happy about the decision to suspend Ant's listing on the stock exchange. They said it was in the best interests of investors. Every market participant must respect and revere the rules. No exceptions. Not so subtle, eh? The head of consumer protection at China's banking regulator, Guo Wuping, also had some things to say. In this article, he argues that online finance products are not fundamentally different from traditional ones, and so they should be regulated in the same way. Remember, Ant Financial's Alipay is being used by 730 million Chinese people. That's a lot of financial transactions that the Communist Party would like to have more control over. And I don't think they'll let Jack Ma stand in their way. And now, it's time for me to answer a question from one of you, a fan who supports China Uncensored on the crowdfunding website Patreon. Lance Reich asks, what do you think the chances are for an internal civil war in China, and in what time frame? I think the chances of a civil war in China are small. For civil war, you need troops on both sides. But in China today, only the Communist Party has troops. Ordinary citizens aren't even allowed to own guns. Forget guns. In Xinjiang, they even tracked kitchen knives with QR codes. If there is regime change in China, it won't come from a long, bloody battle like in the 1940s. I imagine it will be more like massive protests across the country over an issue that unites Chinese citizens across the spectrum. Ordinary farmers, wealthy people, the police, and the military. And if the military turns against the Communist Party, the party's over. That being said, it's never easy to predict, especially when it comes to time frames. It could be next month. It could be in 30 years. Very few people expected the collapse of the Soviet Union until it was already underway. Thanks for your question, Lance. And thank you for watching. Be like Lance and support China Uncensored with $1 or more per episode. Go to patreon.com/China Uncensored to learn more. Once again, I'm Chris Chappell. See you next time.